There are 3 easy steps in creating your resume link. Let me show you how.
Step 1. Register. Go to www.jobs180.com using any browser and click Register Now. Fill out all the information needed. In choosing your resume link, use your full name so that it looks professional and it's easy to recall by potential employers. For example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz .jobs180.com. Step 2. Create and design. When creating your resume, make sure to complete your personal information and upload your profile picture. One of the highlights of the resume link is the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, you can show off your skills by uploading samples of your work like documents, pictures, videos, and your social media links.
Your resume link also features different themes and you can upload a cover photo. This is a combination of a cover letter and a social network cover photo. Here is an example. You can also download a copy of your resume link and print it. Step 3. Apply for a job. There are many ways to apply with your resume link.
First is browsing the job recommendations in your Jobs 180 dashboard.
If you're qualified, click Submit Resume Link. So what are you waiting for? Dress up your next generation resume, stand out brightly among the competitive job seekers in the market, and win the heart of your future employers using Resume Link.
So, good morning, everyone. So, welcome to jobs180.com's Marketing Me. So, today we're live at Rizal Technological University and we will be doing 3 sessions for you guys. So, this is the first leg. So, today we'll be joined by speakers from Pro Group and Ernst and Young Global Services. So, before we start, may we invite everybody for a short prayer.
Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below.
mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, elas ang sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ng bagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga aking, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Alright, so to officially begin our session for this morning, may we call on Engineer Armando P. Matias, Director for the Cooperative Education Center for Rizal Technological University, to give us the opening remarks.
Our university officials, COE coordinators, our dear COE students, our valued industry partners, online viewers, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. While it is important to assist students in completing their academic requirements to ensure timely graduation, health and safety are our priority. The Cooperative Education Center formulated guidelines on how internship be implemented among different departments and colleges during the first semester school year 2020-2021, while strictly following the no face-to-face internship policy by the Commission on Higher Education. Regardless of the nature of the internship, the university should remind all students to make sure they are taking appropriate precautions and are familiar with the health and safety protocols implemented by the Interagency Task Force and the Department of Health as they comply for their requirements. In many cases, academic programs that require internships are coming up with alternative projects. Experiences or programs that can meet the minimum standards of an internship. This could mean home or off-site-based research projects overseen by the COE coordinators and similar types of learning experiences that are closely tied to the student's academic program. Since no face-to-face policy is being implemented this mid-year term, you will have a different internship experience where the COE program is divided into two phases. In our first phase, we will be conducting a series of webinars wherein soft skills are to be strengthened. Today, your speakers will share with you the topic, Getting Ready for Job Application. Ultimately, employers will value what skills you can bring to them. Use the time to identify and build new skills. The top skills employers seek on resumes, such as verbal and written communication and problem solving, are skills you can build at home right now. Use this time to create your own projects or independent work. Design an app, write code, create a marketing campaign, solve a business problem, or write a research statement. To begin, imagine this is a school project. Think about a current issue or problem. Give yourself a task and come up with your own. As we start this webinar series, I encourage all of you to listen attentively to your speakers as they deliver their topics and participate actively for better understanding. This is for you, our dear students. Lastly, on behalf of the Rizal Technological University Cooperative Education Center, we would like to express our sincerest gratitude to jobs180.com, our university's longtime partner, and to all our supportive industry partners for their commitment and dedication in molding and equipping our students for their future employment. To our dear students, take every opportunity that will help you grow and develop yourselves professionally in every way. Again, thank you and have a fruitful webinar.
Alright, so thank you for that, Sir Dong. So, to our viewers, as usual, we'd like to know where you're from. So, please comment your name, year, course, and section, and type in your questions later habang nagtutalking speaker natin para ma-address natin siya after the talk. So, don't forget to share this video to your friends too. So, here is our schedule for this morning. So number one, we will be doing online applications will be discussed by jobs20.com, dressing up for virtual interviews from Peer Group, and answering common interview questions from Ernst& Young Global Services. So thank you for being on time, guys. Thank you for being here. Again, we'd like to know where you're from. Please comment your name, course, year level, and section as we go along. And we'll put in your question so we can read it later. So let's go to our first speaker. Our first speaker is Sir Kim Chua. He is the managing director for jobs20.com. He has 20 years of experience in sales, marketing, business development, customer service, operations, business process, and human resources. So he is a trusted resource speaker and he has done over 1,000 career development seminars in more than 400 plus colleges and universities nationwide. So Sir Kim, if you're ready, the screen is yours. Take it away.
Everyone. Allow me to share to you how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. A lot of you are now looking for a job and exploring for the next chapter in your life. I hope that this session will be able to help you. No, not only you, but the people that you know that needs help in terms of how to make a job-winning resume. Yan. So yan na tinatawag nating resume link. A lot of platforms right now, mga online platforms are being offered left and right. But for you to know paano to magiging job-winning tool or job-winning resume to, meron akong checklist. So go with me, no, with all these checklists. Your checklist should include the following. Number one, kailangan mag-stand out ka. When you look for a job, you have to be able to stand out. Because if you're not going to be able to stand out, then I think you'll just be part of the crowd. You'll be one of the next applicant na wala lang, na hindi mapapansin. Another thing that should be in your checklist is that you should only have one file. Hindi dapat maraming files na iba-iba sinesend sa mga companies. Mas maganda, isang file lang para pag sinend mo, lahat ng details mo nandoon na. Another thing in your checklist is that it should make the process more efficient. Ibig sabihin, mas mabilis mag-submit, mas mabilis makita ng HR, at mas mabilis kayo makontak for possible next steps na or possible job offer na. Now, another thing in my checklist is that dapat tipid ito, wala itong gastos. The tool that I will show you today, wala itong gastos. Libre po ito. At higit sa lahat, ito ang pinaka-importante sa lahat. This should be in your checklist. The tool should be secured. Okay, more than anything, importante talaga ang data. Pero ang data ninyo, dapat yung protectionan. And using this tool, this is the most secured resume kung tawagin. Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Let me go through the next slides na. Okay? Ito ang tinatawag na resume link. Okay? A personalized URL for anyone can open online anytime. I will use an example para makarelate kayo. If you are John Santos, ang link mo or resume link mo pwede maging johnsantos.jobs jobs180.com. Ganun lang kasimple. At yan na po ang resume link nyo. So how do you make one? Go with me through the 3 simple steps. First step is you have to register. Absolutely, wala tong bayad. Libre po ito. How do you register? You go to the website of jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com at dun ka mag-register on the upper right side of your screen. Now, as you do that, you have to put the basic information. Okay? So, alam nyo na ano mga information yan. Hindi ko na isa-isahin. Babawasan nyo naman at alam nyo naman ano dapat ilagay. Now, as you create your account, you have to use a valid email. Okay? Now, before we go to the email, paalala ko lang, sa mga nag-isip sa inyo, paano kung hindi ako si John Santos, ano gagawin kong resume link? O yan, baka nag-isip kayo eh. So, if ever lang, meron kang kapangalan, okay, just so happen na may ibang John Santos na nauna sa inyo, ano mangyayari? Magkakaroon doon na red na box, sasabihin niya, this name has already been taken. Huwag kayong malungkot, pag taken na, okay lang, just be creative. Pwede mo gawin, baliktarin mo. Gawin mo santosjohn.jobs180.com o kaya J Santos o kaya Santos J o kaya JS o kaya SJ. Depende kung ano gusto mo gawin. Basta importante, wala kang kapangalan. Okay? Wala kang kapareho. Now, when you do this, huwag kayong OA. Do not create yung mga ganong klaseng over creative na mga resume link because it doesn't look professional. Imagine submitting to a company with your resume link that says eljablo.jobs180.com. Hindi yan mukhang professional. Okay? Now, when you register, please use a valid email. Ito yung emphasis ko lang sa pag-create nyo ng account na dapat gamitin yung email, yung nabubuksan yung email, kagaya ng Gmail, Yahoo, or any email na nabubuksan nyo. Do not create, example lang yung mga email na kagaya ng ganito, patricia@facebook.com na email. Huwag kang gagamit ng joseph@facebook.com na email to register. In short, huwag mong gagamitin yung @facebook.com na email. Because if you use @facebook.com na email, you will no longer be able to receive notification being sent to you by the companies as well as jobs180.com. Importante po na nabubuksan nyo yung email nyo kasi kailangan mo i-verify yung account mo. Okay? It is very important that you verify your account as a proof na ikaw nag-register at pangalawa, para ikaw yung makapag-apply. If you don't do this, if you don't verify, walang mangyayari sa account nyo. Okay? So sayang lang. So you have to verify to finish the first step. Okay? How do you verify? Just open your email, look for the link, click mo yung verify, you're done with the first step. Okay? Tapos na yung first step. Ano yung first step? Register. Wala tong bayad. Let's go to the second step. Ang second step, ang pinaka-logical sa lahat. Kailangan kumpleto ang detalye nyo. So how do you do that? You go back again to your account by going to the website of jobs180.com. This time, hindi mo kailangan mag-register. Ang gagawin mo, mag-login. Pag login mo, lagay mo dito yung email nyo or resume link nyo, kayo lang may alam yan, at lalo na yung password nyo na kayo lang talaga may alam yan. So when you do that, you now go inside your account. Pag nasa loob na kayo ng account nyo, ano gagawin nyo? Mabilis na lang ito. Fill in the blanks. Okay? Now, I don't have to go through all the information here because definitely, alam mo naman pag sinabi ditong name, malamang pangalan nyo. Pag nakalagay dito address, malamang address nyo. Diba? So, you put all the information ninyo dito. Okay? Lagay nyo. Then, what else do you put in here? Importante po, lagay dito lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak ng isang HR. Kagaya ng social media account nyo. Diba? Hindi lang email tsaka phone number. Bakit? Most of the time, ano nangyayari? Okay, let me tell you. Marami sa inyo nilalagay nyo phone number nyo. Pero pag tinatawagan kayo ng HR, hindi nyo sinasagot. Lalo na pag hindi mo kilala. Hala, sino kaya ito? Hindi mo sasagutin. Diba? Kasi takot kayo, baka nagsascam or whoever yung tumatawag. So ano mangyayari sa mga HR? Mag-i-email kami ngayon sa inyo. But you don't open email more often than you open your social media account. So I recommend lahat ng posibleng paraan na pwede ka makontak na isang HR, ilagay mo dito. Kagaya ng mga Facebook nyo or Twitter nyo para mabilis tayo makapag-PM. Private message, makapag-invite for the next step. Okay? What else do you put here? You also put here your work options, yung mga work experience nyo. Pagdating po sa work options, you can see on the screen, you have 4 options na pwede nyo pagpilian. Parang switch lang yan. Yes, no switch, on, off switch. So you can choose here, example, looking for OJT, lagay mo yes if you're looking for OJT right now. And later on, pag hindi na, turn it off. Edi lagay mo na no. Diba? So depende yan kung anong mas trip nyo or ano mas pasok dun sa hinahanap nyo right now. What the system will do is it will try to match you with companies who are also looking for the same profile with what you have. Yan yung kagandahan ng tool natin. Hindi mo kailangan mag-door-to-door para mag-submit ng resume link ninyo. Okay? What else do you put here? You put here your school under education. Even later on, okay, pagka-graduate nyo, you can also put here your schools. Yung mga nag-take pa kayo ng further studies, pwede mo rin ilagay dito. Okay, so walang limit sa space yan. Pagdating pa sa seminars attended, ganun din. Kahit gaano karami, pwede nyo ilagay dito, kahit magkopyahan pa kayo. Just make sure lang alam mo yung seminar na yon. Kaya baka matanong ka sa interview. Pagdating po sa certification, ganun din. Put all the certification programs that you've had, you put it here. Okay? When it comes to the achievement, do not limit your achievement only inside the school. Hindi lahat na nakikinig ngayon ay Dean's Lister. Hindi kayo lahat dito ay honor student. 'Di ba? Ayan, nag-agree marami sa inyo. So hindi lang po ang achievement nakabase sa academic excellence. Some of you are student leaders. So if you're active sa school, you also put it here kung ano yung mga pinagkakaabalahan nyo. And hindi lang sa loob ng school, even outside the school. If you're active in your barangay, halimbawa, isa kang tanod, ilagay mo dyan. 'Di ba? Yan yung mga achievement ninyo. So you put it here. Bakit? Because what you're doing now is you're trying to market yourself more effectively to that prospective company. Okay? Now, when it comes to the skills and languages, ito yung common observation namin mga HR. Pagdating sa skills, nilalagay mo lang na skills yung mga umiikot lang sa course nyo. Hindi porkat communication arts ang course mo, com arts lang ang skills na alam mo. Hindi porkat engineering ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang-engineering. Hindi porkat tourism or HRM ang course mo, ang alam mo lang na skill ay pang-tourism at pang-HRM. Maybe some of you are into multimedia, into photography, into videography, into something else, arts, crafts, whatever. Lahat ng yan, skills nyo yan. Remember, what you're doing here is you're marketing yourself more effectively. Kaya kung ako sa inyo, ilagay mo dito lahat ng skills na alam ninyo. Pagdating po sa languages, ganun din. Huwag mong ilimit yan sa dalawang lengguwahe lang. Because I'm sure alam nyo na yung dalawa. Kung dalawa lang talaga alam nyo, din dalawa lang. Ano tong dalawang to? English and Tagalog or Filipino. Okay? Now, if you know other local dialect, Bisaya, Kapampangan, Sabacano, Ilonggo, you can also put it here. If you know foreign languages, German, French, Chinese, Japanese, diba, Korean, pwede mo ilagay dyan. Okay? Walang limit sa space yan. When it comes to the references, sigurado ko yung mga references nyo, kilala nyo. Ang malaking tanong dito kayo ba'y kilala nila? Sana oo, di ba? Kasi madalas pag tumatawag kami sa mga references nyo, hindi kayo maalala. So please tell them, ginawa nyo silang reference para at least they know what to tell about you. Okay? Now at this point, to make your life easier, kung sakali lang nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo in your Word file or maybe in your doc file, depende kung anong file nyo, PDF file, whatever file you have. Kung nakagawa ka na ng resume nyo, simple na lang. Just copy all the information inside dito. Na ilagay mo sa loob ng resume link. Just transfer them here inside the resume link para maging secured yung data nyo. Okay? Kung bakit secured, I'll tell you as we go along. Okay? So yung mga sinabi ko, I think alam nyo na yan. Alam nyo na yan. Okay? Itong mga susunod kong papakita, ito yung mga amazing na portion. Let me start with the portfolio section. Ano yung portfolio section? This is the part where you now upload evidence of your skills. Example, ano ebidensya na graduate na kayo later on? Diploma, di ba? Transcript. Ano pa? Toga? Hindi ebidensya yung toga. Okay? Kung ano man meron nyo, di ba? Certificate, diploma, yan, ebidensya yan. Okay? Kung transcript of records is evidence na graduate na kayo. Ano ebidensya na wala kayong criminal record? NBA clearance, police clearance, di ba? Ano ebidensya na pwede ka pumunta sa ibang bansa? Passport, visa, lahat ng mga sinasabi mong mga skills mo or yung mga what you're claiming that you know, you can now support them here sa portfolio section by showing those documents. Diba? Anong ebidensya na ikaw ay healthy? Meron kang medical clearance. Anong ebidensya na pwede kang mag-drive ng sasakyan? Meron kang driver's license. Diba? So gets nyo na yung sinasabi ko. Ang point ko lang is you can now put the things here to support yung claim nyo of your skills. Now, you're starting to think, Sir, kung pare-pareho naman kaming graduate sa school namin, pare-pareho kami magkakaklase, same yung course namin, same yung school, same yung teachers, same yung curriculum, pare-pareho lang naman kami lahat, walang experience sa trabaho, how will we stand out? Ayan, di ba? Okay, ito ngayon yung isang magandang recommendation ko sa inyo on how you now stand out. You get your smartphones. Kunin mo yung mga smartphones nyo. Kung wala, manghiram sa kaibigan. Okay, hiram mo sa kaibigan mo. I-record mo yung selfie video mo. You say something interesting about yourself. Record it in about 30 seconds to 1 minute lang. Huwag na masyadong mahaba. Ano gagawin mo? Pretend that you are being interviewed by the HR. So you answer basic questions like, tell me something about yourself. O, di ba? Ano yung mga gasgas sa tanong natin? Why should we hire you? O, di ba? Just imagine na tinanong ka ng HR at sasagutin mo na lang siya. Ang maganda lang ngayon, recorded mo. So kung di mo type yung sagot, i-delete mo. Pag type mo, you save it. Then you upload it sa YouTube or sa Vimeo. Maraming mga video channel na libre, mga video converter sa online. Hanapin mo lang. And when you're done, you put that video link doon sa portfolio section nyo. O, di ba? This time, it will definitely make you stand out because depende na to sa diskarte mo on how you're going to present yourself. Okay? So, I leave it up to you on how you do that. Now, another thing for you to do, na sure akong hindi to makokopya ng classmate mo, ay yung picture mo. Diba? So, you put your profile picture here. Now, when it comes to the picture, hindi kailangan sobrang formal na formal. Hindi kailangan pumunta sa studio. Huwag na kayo gumastos. Ang importante dito, tumingin kayo sa camera. Plain background. Okay? Plain background, tumingin kayo sa camera. Wear something, of course. Wear something decent. Okay? Do not upload profile pictures that look like the right side of your screen. Yung mga sample na yan, hindi po maganda yung sample yan. Okay? So, huwag kayo maglagay ng mga ganun kasi mga sample na profile picture. Now, another good thing pa that will make you stand out using the resume link is your cover photo. Yes! A picture paints 1,000 words. Yan ang kasabihan na very, very applicable dito. A lot of you who are listening today, hindi kayo gifted with writing skills. Hirap kayo i-express ang inyong feelings at inyong thoughts into words. Hindi mo ma-type, hindi mo ma-sulat. Tama? Hirap tayo eh. Bakit? Hindi natural sa atin yan. Pero pagdating sa picture, kaya mo i-express yung inyong personality. Look at the examples I'm showing you. Look at the one on the left. Ano siya? Isa siyang ophthalmologist or optometrist. Sabi naman ng iba, eye expert. Di ba? Ina sa kanan, ano siya? Sabi ng iba, sir, parang IT. Sir, techie siguro kasi maraming gadget, pati stapler, gadget niya. Di ba? Halimbawa, o sabi ng iba naman, sir, parang makalat. O depende na kung how you are going to interpret it. But now, the way I see it, itong taong to, multitasker. Okay? Another good example I'm showing you is this one. Someone from psychology, someone from neurologist, or maybe someone who knows left and right. Ganun lang kasimple. No? So, depende yan how you're going to express yourself. Okay? Another good example pa, ito. Itong person na to, ang gusto niya sabihin, there's no shortcut to success. You will be able to reach your goal by taking one step at a time. O, di ba? So, I'm showing you good examples. Hindi yan member ng Akit Bahay Gang. Hindi rin po yan social climber, in case that's what you're thinking. So, kung nagpakita ko ng magaganda example, I will also show you yung mga hindi maganda example para wag niyong gagayahin. Huwag kayo magpapaka-misteryoso. Okay? Make sure you put your picture there. Okay? Kasi maraming pangalan ngayon interchangeable. Ako mismo, guilty ako dyan. My name is Kim. A lot of people think babae ako. Ako rin mismo, napagkakamala ko yung mga aplikante, pero nakita ko, Chris, George, Alex, Sam. O, diba? Minsan isipin ko, Joey, lalaki. Yung pala, babae. Diba? So, you better put your picture there para at least alam ng HR who to expect. Okay? Now, when you make your resume link, dapat may laman talaga yan. Kasi kung walang laman yan, ganyan itsura niyan. Blanco. And how do you expect companies will look, or HR from companies will look at your profile if you submit to them resume links that look like this? It's like submitting a piece of a paper, bond paper, or long bond paper, short bond paper na walang laman except pangalan mo. And that's the same as this one. So hindi yan papansinin ng mga HR for sure. Okay? Sayang lang oras nyo tsaka oras ng HR. Kailangan attractive. Okay? When I say attractive or catchy, do not overdo it naman. Now, this is just in my opinion. In my opinion, I think this one is not a good example. Kasi ang dating niya parang tamad, parang happy-go-lucky, parang chill-chill lang, no? Parang ganoon na dating. So, I leave it up to you on how you'll be, expressing yourself na dito. Okay? So, sa mga personality nyo. Alam nyo na anong dapat nyo gawin at hindi nyo dapat gawin. So, showing a very good example is si eye expert. Tignan mo, lahat ng detalye niya, kompleto. Everything from top to bottom, kompleto lahat ng details, including yung kanyang mga portfolio section na nagpapatunay na siya ay isang licensed ophthalmologist. Pinakita niya lahat ng mga posibleng hingiin pa sa kanya ng mga HR. So bakit ko sinabi sa inyo napapabilis yung buhay dito? Hindi lang buhay nyo. Pati buhay din ng HR napapabilis. Because once you submit all this information to that company, when the HR opens your resume link and sees everything about you, dalawa lang ang pwedeng mangyari niyan. One is, nahuli mo attention, gusto ka niya ngayon kausapin or schedule for the next step, like interview or possibly job offer, or hindi ka nag-fit. Yun yung second. Diba? Para at least, ang maganda rito, hindi na pabalik-balik, hindi na siya tatawag para sabihin, hello ma'am, meron ka bang evidence na graduate ka na talaga sa school na yan? Can you send me your transcript? Diba? Can you send me yung mga evidence or yung mga sample skills o sample work mo kasi you are in IT or in graphic design? Diba? Gets mo ibig ko sabihin? Wag nang pabalik-balik, sayang yung oras. Okay? Time is of the essence, lalo na ngayon. So you put everything there, at least pag nakita ng HR, diretso na kagad sa pagprocess sa inyo. Okay? A lot of you are now thinking, Sir, Pag gumawa ako ng resume link at nilagay ko lahat ng information ko dyan, baka naman yung mga data ko nakakalat na sa buong mundo. Baka naman yung mga information ko nakalantad na sa buong internet. The answer is no. Kaya nga siya tinawag na the most secured resume. Okay? Bakit siya tinawag na most secured resume? Because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings. Follow the screen. Inside your dashboard, when you log in, you can go to your settings. Sa settings mo, to be specific, puntahan mo yung privacy settings. In your privacy settings, you choose the information that you want to show in public. Halimbawa lang you do not want to show your birthday. What do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita yung address mo. What do? Turn it off. Ayaw mo pakita ang inyong references. What do? Turn it off. So lahat na naka-off, hindi lalabas sa public. At sino may control niyan? Kayo lang. O, di ba? Ang maganda pa rito, real-time update yan. Halimbawa, today, you decide not to show your birthday, your address, and references. And then 5 minutes later, you decide, sige, pakita ko na nga birthday ko. Turn it on. Real-time. 5 minutes later, the moment you save your settings, lahat na binigay mo ng resume link, updated na rin sila real-time. As in real-time. Di ba? Ayos, di ba? Sige, tuloy natin. Tuloy pa natin to. So, reminders ko na lang sa mga late na dumating or kakakinig lang, when you make your resume link, make sure that your profile is interesting and attractive. Okay? Wag OA. Iba yung over naman yun. No? Wag naman ganun. So, make sure it's attractive, it's catchy. Complete all the information, especially your contact details. Kasi sayang naman lahat ng ginawa mo, nahuli mo attention, hindi ka makontak ng HR. So, better make sure nandyan yung mga contact details yun na updated. Okay? So, yan. So, tapos na tayo sa 2 steps. Last step na lang. Ano yung first step? Recap lang. First step is register. Wala tong bayad. Libre po yan. Second step is for you to complete the information. Yan ang pinaka-logical. And the last step now is for you to submit. So, you're now thinking, okay ito paano ko gagamitin ngayon yung resume link? Bigyan kita ng iba-ibang paraan. Okay, lahat ito practical application para makarelate kayo. Unang option, pumunta ka sa website ng jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com, and that's where you now start to look for companies. Type the companies that you're looking for. Pag may lumabas, edi good. Pag walang lumabas, edi wala. Okay, wag din pilitin. Okay? Now, you can also see there a lot of companies, a lot of company logos that you can shop around, you can choose, learn about the company, and if you want to be part of the company, I recommend you submit your resume link kahit na hindi ka pa qualified. Let me repeat what I just said. If you want to be part of an organization, if you want to be part of that company, even if you are not yet qualified, I recommend you give your resume link to that company. Bakit? Imagine, kung ngayong hapon, ngayong araw, nagsubmit ka ng resume link sa isang kumpanya na naghahanap ng 3 years experience na aplikante. Wala ka pang 3 years experience. Okay lang. Because nabigay mo na yung resume link mo sa kanya, pagdating ng 2024, siguro naman by that time, meron ka ng 3 years experience, di ba? Kasi nag-work ka na ngayon by 2021. By 2024, may 3 years experience ka na, pwede ka na ma-qualify dun sa position in-applyan mo. And you never know. That company might just contact you later on, provided that your details are still updated. So you have to update those information real time. Ayos ba? Ayos, di ba? Wala nang pabalik-balik. Hindi mo na kailangan magbalik-balik dun sa kumpanya para sabihin, nag-apply po ko sa inyo last year. Ako po yung OJT nyo 3 months ago. Wala lang ganun. Okay? Another practical application. When you submit your resumes through email, how do you do that? Madalas, ito ginagawa natin. Mag-email tayo, sasabihin natin, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position, and this is my resume. Ano gagawin nyo? I-attach mo yung Word file mo or PDF file mo. Tama? If that is how you're doing it, wag mo nang gawin yon. Wag ka na mag-attach ng anything sa email. Pampabagal lang yan, tsaka makaluma na yung style na yan. Bakit ko sinabi yon? Kasi hindi mo na kailangan talaga mag-attach ng anything. Ang gagawin mo, i-type mo na lang doon sa email mo yung resume link mo. Example, Dear HR Manager, I would like to apply for the following position. And this is my resume. In this example, Antonio Juan de la Cruz, 01.jobs180.com. That's it. Submit. I look forward to your information. Thank you. Send. Every time meron kang babaguhin sa details mo, hindi mo na kailangan padalhan yung HR. Kasi kung ginagamit mo mga attachment, ang kulit niyan ang kulit, saka nakakapagod. Ano gagawin mo pag nagbago ka ng phone number? Dear HR Manager, this is now my updated resume. Mamaya-maya, 2 weeks later, nagpalit ka ng phone number. Ano gagawin mo? Dear HR manager, this is now my updated, most recent resume. O di ba? Every time meron kang babaguhin, padala ka na padala doon sa HR. Nakakapagod yan, hindi lang sa part nyo, kundi sa part din namin sa mga HR to keep track which one yung pinaka-updated na details. So this time, wala na kailangan. Palit-palit na lang kayo ng details nyo, update-update na lang sa loob ng resume link. Ayos ba? Ayos pa. Okay, tuloy pa natin to. Okay? If you want to print your resume, this is now the good news. You can now print your resume link. No matter how much information you have, the system will try to compress everything into one page. So kung gusto mo talaga mag-print ng papel at mag-submit sa mga kumpanya, walang kaso. Pumunta ka lang sa dashboard mo, hanapin mo yung print na option at mamili ka kung 1-column or 2-column version ang gusto mo i-print. What the system will do is it will try to compress everything into one page para tipid na. O, di ba? Now, usapang tipid. Ito mas tipid pa. Gusto mo mag-print ng resume pero gusto mo magtipid. Itong gawin mo. Gumawa ka ng resume link card. Ano tong resume link card? Sa isang pirasong long bond or short bond paper, mag-design ka ng maraming resume link card. No, maliliit lang, parang business card ang dating. In one piece of paper, I think you can make 10, 20 sets of cards. Depende sa size ng papel mo. At ang importante lang ilagay mo dyan sa resume link card mo ay syempre ang inyong resume link. Diba? So, hindi mo na kailangan ilagay lahat ng details mo sa resume sa loob ng maliit na papel. Lagay mo lang resume link mo. And that is what you now give to the companies when you start applying. Look at the picture I'm showing you. Diba? Tipid. Hindi lang tipid. Secured pa. Tingnan nyo. If you submit yung big paper resume nyo, long bond paper, sinubmit mo sa isang kumpanya, nag-apply ka. For some reason, nilipad ng hangin. Yung nakapulot ng papel na yan, alam na buong detalye mo because everything is in that one-page printout. Now, if you lose that small piece of paper, don't worry. Meron kang peace of mind. Bakit? Yung mga kapulot niyan, limited sa privacy settings mo because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings kahit na i-type niya yan sa browser. Okay? So, ang recommend ko rin sa mga nakikinig, use the gadget. Take advantage of the technology. Use your gadget, your laptop, your cell phone, your tablet, kung ano man. Okay? Para ngayon kasi, this day and age, technology na ang gamitin natin. Kung mano-mano pa rin kayo, wala kayong gadget, okay lang. Huwag kayong malungkot. You can still submit to the companies by just simply writing the resume link on a piece of paper. As simple as that. Okay? So, again, sa mga nagtatanong, ano yung mga guidelines ko para makagawa ako ng job-winning resume? Ito yung guideline ko. Ito yung checklist ko. Are you using the right tool? That's the ultimate question. There are so many tools right now, but these are the things that you should consider when you make your resume. And that is the resume link. It already addresses the following. Number 1, security ng information mo. I hope by this time, you have peace of mind. Ito na ang pinaka-secure na information because you have the ultimate control over your privacy setting. Pangalawa, the speed of hire becomes faster. It becomes more efficient because whatever you need, whatever the HR needs, you can already put it inside the resume link. Another thing is that it's flexible. If you want to print, just in case lang gusto mo talaga mag-print ng resume nyo, you have the option to print it. And you don't have to worry about saan ko sinave yung file na yan, saan ko tinago, wala nang ganon. Just log into your account and print. Mamili ka lang kung 1-column or 2-column version. At higit sa lahat, wala po itong bayad. Tipid po ito. Walang bayad. Okay? Ang kailangan mo lang, of course, internet. Sa mga nag-iisip sa inyo, sir, kailangan ko ng pan-data, pwede ka naman makakonect sa internet na walang data eh. Punta ka sa libreng wifi. Di ba? Baka yung kapitbahay nyo may libreng wifi, o makagamit ka muna. Later on, pag may trabaho ka na, may sweldo na, bayaran mo yung wifi niya. O, di ba? Bawi-bawi lang yan. No? Give and take. And there are a lot more benefits to just what I've mentioned. Marami pang iba. You can share your resume link to whatever platform you want to share it to. Gusto mo i-text? Gusto mo siya i-private message? Gusto mo i-send via Viber? Kayo bahala. Pwede mo i-share. Basta kayo may control. Ganun lang kasimple. No? Kung hindi mo ito binigay sa kahit kanino, hindi malalaman to nung taong yon. And you don't have to save it to whatever USBs or hard drive. No need na. Wala rin tong mga tipong version na kailangan pa mag-compatible. Walang ganun. Lahat ito compatible. Pwede lahat. Okay? So, shout out na lang ako. Shout out to all our school partners. By the grace of God, right now, we have about 400 plus colleges and university partners nationwide, including your alma mater. So, thank you. We're very thankful for this opportunity that we're able to do this kahit tayo nasa loob ng bahay, kahit kayo ay nasa loob ng bahay. So, hindi tayo physically nagpe-present, pero nakakatulong pa rin tayo, especially if you have friends or relatives whom you think would need this tool, please share this to them. Okay? Sa mga nagtatanong naman ng mga frequently asked questions, sasagutin ko na. Ito kasi yung mga common questions na kadalasan tinatanong sa akin. Ang tanong, can I give my resume link to companies who do not know about jobs180.com? The answer is absolutely yes. It depends kung sino ang bibigyan mo. Ikaw may ultimate control niyan. Okay? Pangalawang question, is this the same as other job platform like LinkedIn, JobStreet, iba pang mga job site? The answer is no. Meron tong dalawang major difference. Yes. Lalo na pagdating sa security. Okay. Of course, explain lang ako Okay. With respect to the other sites that I've mentioned, let me just use JobStreet as an example para lang mas makarelate, no? Para makarelate. You can only use JobStreet resume if you're applying to companies who are also using JobStreet. If you're applying to a company who is not using JobStreet, you cannot use your JobStreet resume anymore. With your resume link, you can use this to any type of company, any platform, wherever they are. Kahit sa loob ng Pilipinas or sa labas ng Pilipinas, pwede mong applyan. Kahit hindi niya alam ang Jobs 180, basta alam niya ang resume link mo, pwede niya mabuksan ang profile at makita according to your settings. That's the first difference. Pangalawang difference, kung nabigay mo na, kung na-submit mo na ang JobStreet resume mo sa isang company, wala ka nang pwedeng baguhin. Lahat ng data mo nandun na yan sa HR. Yes. Hindi na magbabago yan real time. With your resume link, na-submit mo today, mali pala number mo, na-submit mo today, mali pala yung spelling mo, you can always edit it. Enter, save it. Real-time update. Lahat ng bigyan mo ng resume link, updated real-time. Ayos? Okay, tuloy tayo sa number 3 question. Number 3 question is the easiest question. Ang tanong dito is, can I keep my information secured? I hope by this time, na-convince ko na kayo na ito na ang pinaka-secured na platform. Okay? That's the reason why I'm sharing this to you. Okay? Number 4, I think this is the most important question. How often should you update your resume link? Ang sagot dito, hindi araw-araw, hindi linggo-linggo, hindi buwan-buwan, hindi taon-taon. Ang sagot dito ay every time. Every time na meron kayong babaguhin, lalo na ang contact details nyo. Yan ang importante. You have to update your contact details every time na meron kayong papalitan doon. Kasi yan yung paraan para makontak kayo ng mga companies. And the last question is just a trivia. Why is this called jobs180.com? This is called jobs180.com because we want to turn your life around. Yan, di ba? 180 degrees. Hindi siya 360. Kasi kung 360, bumalik ka lang kung saan ka galing. Di balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang, balik-balik ka lang. Di wala nangyari. Di ba? So you have to do it 180 degrees. It's a straight line towards your career goal. Okay? Just in case may tanong pa kayo, nahiya magtanong, pumunta lang kayo sa website namin, sa jobs180.com, or email me here sa info@jobs180.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram para makakuha kayo ng mga latest trends in recruitment. Okay? Again, my name is Kim Chu Wa. Don't forget yung Wa. Okay? Baka Kim Chu lang maalala nyo. Na nagsasabing, be safe at isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you for that, sir. Ayan. So to our audience, we are now open for questions. If you have questions, if you want to clarify anything with Sir Kim, so please put it on our comment section now. No? So sir, we prepared one question habang nag-iisip ng audience natin. Sir, may we ask if the Jobs 180 portal is catering only for fresh graduates? Meron din po ba tayong jobs for experienced
Oo,
employees?
madami yan. Thank you for the question, Ma'am Shari. So, you have two options no sa mga nakikinig ngayon, whether you are from RTU or you are not from RTU. So, one is you can go to the website of jobs180.com. That's www.jobs180.com. Doon sa website na yon, there's a lot of opportunities. Kumbaga, pinagsama-sama na natin lahat ng mga kumpanya na nag-hire ng halo-halo samot-sari ng mga types of opportunities. So there you will find opportunities for fresh graduates. You'll see opportunities for internship. In case lang the companies are hiring for internship, you will also see their companies who are hiring for experienced professionals. So doon marami. No, lahat halo-halo 'yan. Now, one more thing I want to highlight is the one that's scrolling on the screen right now. Kung nababasa nyo, yan po yung career portal para sa RTU. So yan nakasulat diyan, nag-scroll ngayon. It's schools with an S, no, plural, schools.jobs180.com/RTU. Now, if you type that link dun sa browser, what you will see are the industry partners of RTU, kung saan dito na namin fini-filter or ni-spoon feed na namin sa inyo yung mga opportunities na pang fresh graduates, pati na rin po pang internship and trainees. So, or OJTs. Diyan na namin ngayon finilter. Why? We want your life to be easier. 'Di ba? Ayaw namin na pag pumunta kayo at naghahanap kayo tapos madidismaya kayo na ang dami palang work experience kailangan dito. So pag click mo yung tab na nakalagay fresh graduates, lahat na nandoon na opportunities na makita nyo pang fresh graduates. So it simplifies your job searching, no? Mas mabilis. Now for internship naman, in case there are companies who are looking for interns, for OJTs, ganun din, click mo yung OJT na tab or OJT internship tab. Pag click mo siya, you will also see companies there who are looking for OJTs. Now, we are not saying lahat ng kumpanya ay nandyan na. Okay? We of course encourage you to explore lahat ng posibleng paraan kung saan nyo makikita yung mga companies na ito. Ang ini-encourage lang din namin is that please use the resume link when you apply para yung data po ninyo secured, because you have the ultimate control over your privacy settings kapag ikaw ay may resume link. Another thing I want to highlight is that when you go to this page, doon sa career portal na sinabi ko, yung schools.jobs180.com/RTU, you will also see there, pag may announcement tayo, pag meron tayong virtual career fair later on, magkakaroon po doon ng invitation. So when you log into your Jobs 180 account, kapag ikaw ay taga RTU, for this example, kahit na graduate ka na from at one point in time, you will be getting a pop-up message asking you to join the virtual career fair. That's sometime later on pa pag na-set up na po natin yung inyong virtual career fair schedule. Now, when you see that, do not forget to click the join button. Kailangan mo i-click yung join kasi pag hindi ka na-click ng join, you will not be getting yung mga details ng event. Okay? So you have to click on the join button, okay, para ma-receive mo po yung mga details at yung mga reminders dun sa darating po na virtual career fair live ninyo. Okay? Now, as of today, wala pa tayong na-set na date. Okay? So, we are still in touch pa with your office, care of Sir Dong. So, malalaman po ninyo yan. Kaya, subaybayan nyo lang po. Log in lang po kayo, no, sa inyong Jobs 180 account. But first things first, you need to create an account. Okay? So, remind ko lang ulit, pinapaalala ni Sir Dong every time, this is a requirement for everyone who's listening right now, especially yung mga mag-OJT or nasa internship enrollment right now, naka-enroll for OJT. So, please make sure dun sa COE ninyo, you create your resume link. Ayan. Okay? Thank you. May question tayo, Ma'am
We
Shari.
have two questions coming in po.
Hmm.
One from Sir Ryan Kumingmat Perosio. Sir, one time lang po ba pwede magpasa ng resume sa mga company?
Okay. Ibig sabihin ni Sir Ryan, isang beses lang ba ako magsasubmit tapos hindi na ako magsasubmit ulit? Okay. The way you're understanding the resume link is correct. No, hindi mo kailangan kulitin ng kulitin yung kumpanya na mag-submit ka na mag-submit na mag-submit na mag-submit every time meron kang babaguhin sa information mo. But you are correct in saying that you have to submit. Okay? Kahit isang beses, kailangan ma-submit mo yung resume link mo dun sa company. Tapos lahat ng update mo from your end, you update it na lang sa loob ng resume link. If you need to change anything sa information mo, you want to upload anything dun sa documents mo or yung mga proof mo sa skills mo, lahat yon i-update mo lang sa loob ng resume link. Now, in doing so, how do you now advise the HR? Kung sakali lang, no, you want to make a little kulit lang or make a little follow-up to the HR. So what you'll do is you can send an email, you can text the HR, diba? And tell them lang that you have updated your resume link. And just, of course, provide them the link pa lang din. No? Same lang din. Pwede mo naman i-send or i-share pa rin naman yung link. Ang beauty lang nito is that hindi na bumibigat yung file. Yun yung una. No? Hindi ka na rin kailangan mag-attach every time na meron kayong mga ina-add sa profile ninyo or sa document ninyo. So, to answer your question, yes, okay, we're not saying you only send it once, but it will do. No, it will suffice. Isang beses ka lang mag-send sa kumpanya, update ka lang. But make sure lang you have to submit that resume link to the company. Now, if you want to keep on reminding them about your resume link, then it's okay. I think wala namang kaso when you open your email, as an HR, when I open an email and I see that you are following up for your position and this is your resume link, then okay lang naman because I will just have to click on the link and it gets redirected na to your profile. Diba? So, I hope na-answer ko yung sagot, yung tanong ni Sir Ryan. Okay?
Okay, from Ian Apaitan, how can other companies that has no jobs on AT may access out resume link if our profile is not open for public?
Very good question, Sir Ian. Very good question yan. Okay. So, how can companies access your Jobs 180 account, diba, kung yung profile mo not open for public? Okay. So, this is the beauty of this tool. Okay. I'm using that term beauty kasi ikaw ang may control kung anong information ilalabas mo sa public. So, let me answer yung question mo na hihimayin ko. Una sa lahat, companies will not know about your resume link pag hindi mo siya binigay. Okay, so you have to give your resume link to that respective company. Okay, in whatever format you want to give it to email, to text, to send via messenger or what. Basta kailangan ikaw magsabi kasi kung hindi mo niya mahuhulaan na si Sir Ian, ito yung resume link. Okay, so you have to give it to them. That's number one. Okay, second, nagbigay ka ng link, what they'll do is they'll just have to type it lang sa browser. Google Chrome, Firefox, Android, Safari, whatever they have, no, they just type it sa browser and then they'll be able to see yung resume link mo. Provided, ayan, ito na yung second part. Provided kung ano yung information ang gusto mo ipakita sa kanya. So kung nagbigay ka ng resume link sa isang kumpanya at tinago mo lahat ng information mo, wala rin siya makikita. Okay? That's the thing. So you control your privacy settings 100%. That's the reason why I'm saying na you can control yung efficiency mo, whether kung open ka ngayon tapos close mo later, which information mo to show or hide in public real time. Okay? So I hope na answer ko yung tanong ni Sir Ian. Ang recommend ko lang dito simple lang. Okay? Set your privacy settings as to the information that you want them to see. Yung tipong okay lang malaman nila yung mga information na to. The rest of the other, I would say siguro more personal information, yung mga ibang i-attach mo the document, then you can hide it first. Okay, hide it first sa iyong public settings. Tapos, you can show it na lang kapag yun ay hiningi na sa inyo or kung talagang tingin mo very important na yung information na yun para i-submit doon sa company. Okay, so yan ang maganda dito. Nababawasan yung pabalik-balik, 'di ba? Ang gagawin mo lang, log in ka lang sa dashboard mo, 'di ba? On off lang dun sa information that you want to show or hide in public. Tapos save mo lang yung profile mo. Okay? So I hope nakatulong yung mga tips natin sa mga nakikinig right now, especially sa tanong ni Sir Ian.
Alright, so thank you for that, Sir Kim. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you po for helping us this morning. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Alright.
Sige, be safe. Pag may tanong pa kayo, just email us dun sa info@jobsunity.com. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So next up, we have Miss Elcia Isha de la Peña. Alicia Isha de la Peña. She's the social media specialist for Pro Group, and she will be discussing dressing up for virtual interviews. Miss Isha has been Pro Group's social media specialist for 3 years now. She manages recruitment's digital marketing initiatives and at the same time assists in various sourcing and branding activities. She is a graduate of advertising arts from the University of Santo Tomas, and she carries with her more than 7 years of experience. She's worked with various brands, both local and international, as a marketing consultant, helping companies grow through digital marketing and design. All her experiences combined, having worked in both marketing and recruitment, has helped her identify best practices applicants can adapt to, help them increase their chances of getting hired for the job that they want. So, Miss Isha, if you're ready, please join us.
Hi, Shari. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Ayan. Ma'am, can we twist your screen?
Okay, there you go.
Alright. So, ma'am, you have 20 minutes. I'll be back for the question and answer afterwards. So, ma'am, the screen is yours. Thank you, Miss Isha.
Okay, thanks, Shari. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing how you guys can better dress up for your virtual interviews. But before we begin, let's first assess the current situation that we're in. Next slide, please. Okay, so as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced many companies to adapt their businesses to the new normal. For us at Pro Group, this means that we've switched to a virtual means of finding talent. So this also means that our applicants will have to follow a new set of guidelines so that we can assess them properly. With these new sets of guidelines in place, we are able to ensure that we hire the right candidates and make our opportunities available and accessible to qualified and high potential candidates. Along with these new set of guidelines, we altered our hiring process to make it easier and safer for everyone to apply. So as you all know, before the pandemic, for you guys to be able to apply to jobs, you would have to visit offices, go through face-to-face interviews. That's not the case now. We've tried to make it safer and easier for everyone, which is why now we have virtual interviews. Next slide, please. So, what are virtual interviews? So, these are interviews that are conducted online, mostly through various video conferencing apps such as Zoom, Skype, Viber, Google Meet. And apart from these virtual interviews, we also have what we call digital interviews. So, digital interviews are when applicants would receive a series of questions for which they will record their answers for, and those answers will then be reviewed by recruiters later. So now we have virtual interviews. There's no commute, no hassle, so you have more time to prepare and practice. So now you can be sure that you make a good first impression. The question is, why do you have to ensure that you make a good first impression? It's simply because first impressions last longer than the actual moment. So let's say that your virtual interview only lasts for like 15 or 30 minutes. The first impression could last throughout your entire recruitment process. So you have to make the most of it. Okay, so what can you do to make a good first impression? Next slide, please. It is very crucial that you come prepared. So these are a few items before we get into specifics about dressing up for your virtual interview. We would suggest that you ensure that you research about the position you're applying for. Before you click apply on that job post, review the requirements. If it requires experience and you don't have experience yet, don't apply to that. I'm sure they have other opportunities available for you. If there are job points that you're not comfortable doing, do not apply. And if you see that you might be a fit for this specific job post, go and apply. And it also helps if you search about the company you're applying for. So at least when you get into that interview, you're prepared, you know what to say, you have an idea of what they're looking for, and this will help you answer their questions better. Next, dial in earlier than the scheduled interview time. So virtual interviews are more often than not scheduled in advance. So we would suggest that you prepare earlier, dial in earlier, of course, because it helps the recruiter see that you are serious about your application. Next, take the interview somewhere that has proper lighting and minimal background noise. Also, ensure that your background is not distracting. Okay, so it would help, like if you have a scheduled virtual interview, take it somewhere that has a good background, good lighting, and well, we all know that natural lighting isn't always that reliable. So if you think that the lighting wherever you're taking the interview is not enough, you can take a desk lamp and turn it on and point it at an angle that suits you. Or if you don't have a desk lamp, simply take your phone, turn on the flashlight, and place it somewhere that would um, help the recruiter see you better. And of course, the background noise. If you have, I don't know, noisy neighbors, try and find the most quiet room in your house and take the interview there. Just so the recruiter can hear you better and so you can hear the questions well as well. Um, and lastly, of course, which brings me to our topic for the day, be presentable when participating in a video conference. So, apart from the research, being on time, the good background, the minimal noise, be sure that you present yourself properly. Because the way that you present yourself also gives us an idea of how you will represent the company should we hire you. Okay, next slide. So the question is, how can you present yourself better? Next. Just for success. So smart casual is always a safe and good choice. You don't have to go over formal. You can go for a polished yet relaxed look. In essence, wear something that you would wear if you were going to a face-to-face interview. So we have a few suggestions here. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are our suggested tops. So for women, you can wear work dresses if you're comfortable. You can wear a blousey top, button down shirt, a collared shirt, and if you want, you can also wear a blazer if you're feeling a bit more formal or if you think it helps your look more. And for the men, you can go with either long or short sleeves polo. Those are nice as well. You can go with a collared shirt too. And again, if you're feeling a bit formal, you can wear a blazer too. It also helps if you research the company's dress code. So at least you have an idea of how they dress. And like if it applies to the position that you want to get, you might want to dress up for the position that you want as well. Next slide. Okay, colors. So it's best if you guys go for neutral colors. Let's try and avoid neon colors. There's absolutely nothing wrong with neon colors, like if you like them. But at least for these interviews, for the virtual interviews, go with neutral colors so your recruiter doesn't get distracted. So during your interview, you want your recruiter to focus on you. So at least wear something dark simply because they register better on camera. So I would suggest black. And I also found these other colors that give off certain impressions. So let's start with blue. Blue normally shows that you're confident, trustworthy, and a team player. You'll notice that Sir Kim was wearing blue earlier. Black implies leadership, sophistication, and exclusivity. Gray, it kind of signifies that you're independent, logical, and analytical. And white, like what Shari was wearing, it makes people think that you're safe and organized. So these are a few tips. If you want to wear something other than these colors, that's perfectly fine. But I would suggest that you go with something that's not too saturated. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. So as you guys know, for virtual interviews, your recruiter will mostly just see you from your head to your upper half. But what we would suggest is that you dress yourself from head to toe. So why is that? Because what you wear will help you communicate non-tangible things like your professional presence, connection, and authenticity. Also, when you're fully dressed, it gives you a more realistic feeling. It gives you that face-to-face interview feel, and also your body language improves simply because you're dressed whole. And also, just a quick insight, there could be a part of your interview wherein you'll have to get something that's on another side of the room. At least if you're dressed from head to toe, when you stand up, your recruiter won't see you wearing shorts or pajamas. So be ready. It takes less than 2 minutes anyway. Okay, next. And of course, look good, feel good. Accessorize accordingly. Like if you're more confident wearing earrings, watches, necklace, go do it. Just don't overdo it. Of course, we still want you to look appropriate for an interview. Wear makeup if it makes you feel more confident. If you get a bit conscious about your appearance during virtual interviews, if wearing makeup makes you feel more confident, go for it. So one of the struggles that we could encounter during virtual interviews is that we become a little conscious about our appearance simply because compared to a face-to-face interview where you're only looking at your recruiter, during virtual interviews, you can also see yourself on the screen. So if it makes you feel more confident, by all means, go and wear makeup. Next, as we discussed earlier, be sure you have proper lighting. Yeah, again, you can use a desk lamp or your phone's flashlight. Go ahead and do it. And last but not the least, of course, fix your hair. You don't have to necessarily tie it up. Like if you're confident having it down, that's fine. But avoid instances wherein your hair will cover parts of your face because you don't want to get distracted, and your recruiter might get distracted if you keep doing this throughout your interview. So just make sure that you have the least amount of distractions and that you feel confident and comfortable when you're taking the virtual interview. Okay, next slide. Okay. And remember, you got this. You're prepared. You've prepared for this. Remember that virtual interviews, like face to face interviews, are only a conversation. The recruiter wants to learn more about you, and it's your chance to tell them about yourself as well. Remember that you have something to offer. It's why you're applying for the position. So remember that you have an edge. I'm sure of it. Um, Remember that everyone makes errors. You you are entitled to make mistakes. The recruiters can make mistakes as well. So don't be too nervous about that. Like we will understand if from time to time you will stutter, if from time to time you might not hear the question well. Just make sure that you pay attention as much as you can. And of course, be the best version of yourself. I understand that virtual interviews can sometimes not be enough. Like we have just a few minutes to conduct these interviews, but be sure that you present the best version of yourself during those virtual interviews because it will help us identify whether or not you are actually fit for the position you're applying for. And of course, the more we know about you, the better we can profile you for a position that suits you. Okay, so for our opportunities, guys, please don't forget to visit jobs180/pro. Thank you and good luck.
Alright, so thank you for that, Miss Isha. Ayan. So, to our audience, the floor is now open for questions. So, we can now clarify things or ask questions to Miss Isha. So, habang nag-iisip kayo ng tanong ninyo, mauna na ako, no? So, ma'am, can we ask what are your pet peeves po when you're handling interviews or when you're doing the interviews way back nung nasa recruitment po kayo? Ano po yung
Um,
mga pet peeves niyo na you'd like our audience to avoid or ganyan?
I think one of my pet peeves would be applicants dialing in late, especially when the interview is scheduled. So a schedule is there for a reason. Like I understand we all have our own schedules, but when you've already committed to a certain schedule, dial in on time or earlier because it helps us. As I mentioned earlier, nga, it helps us understand that you're serious about your application. Because as much as applicants want to get hired, we want to hire them as well. So let's give each other, mutual respect.
And, see, so don't be late, guys. Ayan. So, yun yung advice ni Miss Isha to everyone. So, do we have questions? Any other questions from our audience na gusto niyo itanong kay Miss Isha? So, now is the time. Ma'am, can we ask about the vacancies? What vacancies for fresh graduates that they can apply to in Probe?
Yeah. So they can check out jobs180.com/pro. But on top of my mind, we have different accounts that we're currently hiring for. We're looking for crew sales specialists, key account specialists, customer service representatives. Of course, we have a lot of openings that do not require experience. So it's your first time in the BPO industry. Now is the perfect time to apply. And of course, we also have work on site and work from home opportunities. So guys, if you're looking for a job, we are hiring. Visit the link.
Alright, thank you for that, ma'am. Alright, sure na kayo guys na hindi kayo magtatanong. Wala kayong question for Miss Isha. Alright, so ma'am, if ever, if you guys are shy, you can message us on Facebook para we can forward the question to them if we have time, no, para ma-answer nila. If they have time, we can also answer your questions. Alright? So for vacancies, you can visit jobsnate.com/pro. So nandun din yan sa list of partners dun sa RTU school page natin. Alright? So thank you, Miss Isha, for lending us the time. We hope to see you again. Thank you,
Thanks,
ma'am.
Shari. Bye.
Bye po. Alright. So, ay sayang. May nagtanong. Sir John, di nakaabot, no? Let us try to answer this. Good day po. Overdressed po ba kapag naka-suit and necktie bukod sa long sleeve polo during the interview? Ano po ang preference ng mga interviewer na makikita during interview? Hi, ma'am. Thank you for coming back. Ma'am, yung nahabol namin, this is from Sir John, Carlo, and Ciso. So, overdressed po ba kapag naka-suit and necktie bukod sa long sleeve polo during the interview? Ano ang preference ng interviewer na makikita during the interview?
Hi, John. Thank you. So it doesn't count as overdressed. Like honestly, if it was up to me, I think that it's better I think it looks better. It's more formal. It feels like you prepared for this more. So go ahead and do that if you're more comfortable with it. And of course, if you're applying for a corporate position and you feel that this look would help you, express yourself better, go ahead and do it. But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to consider other options, those are fine as well. A suit and tie is okay. So don't feel like you're over this because it's perfectly fine.
All right. Thank you for coming back, Miss Isha. Nakahabol siya na question, ma'am. Thank you, thank you. Thank you po, ma'am. All right. Sige po, Miss Isha. Have a great day po. Thank you.
Thank you, Shari. Bye.
Bye po. All right, so let's move on to our second topic. So our second topic, our presenter is Sir Dennis Petran. So second topic is answering common interview questions. Sir Dennis is the Development Assistant Director for EY Philippines. He brings with him over 17 years of experience in supporting the learning and development needs of the organizations across levels. So Sir Dennis has a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology from Ateneo de Manila University. He is also a certified facilitator for situational leadership 2 program from the Ken Blanchard companies, as well as the Meyer-Briggs type indicator MBTI program from CPT. So good morning, Sir Dennis. Can you please join us? Ay, alright. Alright. So, habang inaantay natin si Sir Dennis, so I would like to greet everyone for being here. So, I'm seeing people from civil engineering. We have people coming in from mechanical engineering. So, good morning. Oh, I saw a question here. Let's try to answer this after Sir Dennis talk. Ayan. Is it always EOP during interviews? So let's answer it after Sir Dennis talk. Hi, Sir Dennis. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Sherry. Good morning, everyone. So
Nice
again,
to
I
have
hope
you back,
everyone,
sir.
yes, I hope everyone's staying safe and dry. I know we've been,
Oo nga po
having
eh.
a really wet week this
Opo.
week, and it's also causing, havoc with the internet issues and the
Yes
like.
nga. Oo nga, sir. Okay. Sir, can we test your screen? Ayan.
Yes,
It's up. It's up, sir. Yan, sir. So, sir, may nag-iintay ng question dito para sa inyo later. So, I'll give
yes,
the
I can see nga.
I'll give up for Q&A. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Sherry. So welcome everyone. Congratulations again for those of you that have recently graduated, and for those that have already graduated. Again, it's a very unique opportunity, and it's great that the partnership that EY has with Jobs 180 has been ongoing for more than a year already, right? And this has allowed us to really reach out people that normally when you look at the activities of most companies, diba, they're usually confined within the precincts of Metro Manila and the major metropolitan cities. So in this case, the topic that was assigned to me was answering common interview questions. And when you take a look at it, there's more than enough information already out there. You have YouTube webcasts, you have Facebook live events sometimes where you have like industry professionals providing free training, free tips in terms of answering common interview questions. But from an EYGDS perspective, and this is just to give everyone a quick overview, we're part of Ernst and Young, the firm, right? It's one of the big four top accounting and professional services firm in the world. To date, we have around 380,000 employees worldwide. And thankfully, despite the numerous challenges that we've had with the pandemic, with the longest, and so far, right, the Philippines has the longest running quarantine lockdown in the world. We've been blessed enough that we're able to continue to grow despite all of these challenges. And just as an example, for GDS Philippines, right, we're part of the Global Delivery Services overview. We're part of the Global Delivery Services team, where we provide professional services not just to EY firms, but also directly to some of our third party clients outside of EY. right? And so, from a Philippines perspective alone, we grew by 1,100 just within the quarantine year alone. And this is all done virtually, right? From interview to the job offer to our onboarding and even technical. And that's why we've been very fortunate that, despite, and when you take a look at it, a lot of global organizations to date are already beginning to have those conversations, as more people get vaccinated, as more people, again, as the infection rates also decrease in numerous countries, a lot of global companies have been discussing, going back to the office. But thankfully, here in EYGDS Philippines, we put our employee safety first. And that's why to date, we're still continuing virtual working for almost all of our 3,000 employees, with the exception, of course, of those that, again, have to access the office, maybe due to internet connectivity issues to their location. And of course, our site facilities team and our IT team, right? And so when you take a look at GDS, what's the difference between us and the local practice firm? So when you take a look at the Philippines in particular, there's actually two EY entities already operating. One, of course, is our local practice firm, SGV& Co., which is one of the largest accounting and professional services firms here in the Philippines. So they have had a long-standing partnership with EY. And of course, the organization I belong to is EYGDS. And that's why we hope that and this is my second, second talk with Rizal Technical University. I think the last one we had with Rizal Technical University was, I think it was late last year, right? And so when you take a look at the openings in GDS, this covers not just the usual accounting tax practice, but even encompasses everything from those that maybe have done events, right? Events and other outdoor activities, right? We have a group in particular. If you take a look at enablement services under MBA, we have the administrative workplace services team. So these actually fulfill the executive assistant role for a lot of EY executives, not just for Asia Pacific, but also in locations like the US and also in Europe, right? And so when we talk about EY and when we talk about common answering the commonly encountered interview questions, I think what's very important, and this is how we'll set the tone for the rest of my talk. It's really you have to take each and every experience that you have as a potential learning and working opportunity, right? And that's why when you think about, and for those of you that are just beginning your professional journey, right? One of the things that we talk about EY is, can your career journey be as unique as you are, right? And like what we all know, each individual is unique, right? No person is the same or alike. And that's why when we talk about, answering the common interview questions, we'll be looking at what is it that you've experienced, right? From grade school to high school to university, and even those interactions that you've had with your family, friends, and even your local community. All those are a very rich, pool of experience that you can draw on, that can present you as a very strong candidate when you apply for any organization. And we hope that EY, and I'll be talking about what we're doing in EY. In particular, in terms of how we screen our candidates. Hopefully, this will help you create that story for you so that when you go to those interviews, it's not just about, can you do the job? Do you have the necessary knowledge and skills? Because again, when we look at it, between work experience, your skill set, right, your technical skills, is it as important as your mindset? And in my case, I've been working for more than 20 years now from the academe. I was a guidance counselor, like what Cherry mentioned, guidance counselor in Ateneo de Manila University. And then I moved into the BPO industry, right, with Sykes Asia. And now with the shared services firm, like, HSBC as a financial company, and also now with Ernst& and Young, right? And so what I have found, moving from industry, from the academe all the way to the corporate world, is that mindset really has a strong impact in terms of how you learn, how you take in new information. And between, skill sets, knowledge, the technical skills, those can be learned in time. But it's much harder for you to adjust your mindset. And as we go through what we'll be looking at in terms of uh, interview questions, right? Um, One of the things that you have to take note of is that most modern companies, and this is a trend that started all the way back in the 90s, right? A lot of the companies nowadays, EY included, make use of the methodology called behavioral interviewing. So, what is behavioral interviewing? Simply put, when you take a look at the candidate, anyone in particular, let's say I'm a candidate, right? Um, how companies would find out if I'm the best candidate for the job, right? Will I perform the way that they need me to perform is to not look at and ask me theoretical questions, right? Like, oh, given this situation A, what would I do? Or given situation B, what would I do? But rather, behavioral interviewing is based on the fact that the best indicator of future performance is actually your past behavior, more specifically your most recent behavior. And that's why when I say a lot of people, when they prepare for interviews, right, they say, how do I do it? Because again, I've not worked, I've been a student for the past 4 years or 5 years or whatever the case may be, right? um, However long it's taken you, maybe you've not, again, some of you may have had that opportunity to work while you're studying, right? Some are working students. Some of you have been fortunate enough that again, you didn't have to take on a secondary employment while you were taking your studies, right? Whatever the case may be, um, all of those experiences, working student, non-working student, those interactions, like I mentioned, with your friends, your families, those can serve you in good stead. Those are valid sources that you can highlight during your interviews. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Right. So when you talk about specific job related skills, situations, behaviors, and their impacts, even if you've not worked before, if you have a very similar experience, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit, right? In your personal life, whether it's managing a project, for those of you that just completed your thesis papers, right? The whole exercise of uh, thinking of what topic to be your thesis, right? To the rigors of researching, doing studies, doing those experiments if need be, right? Or if your thesis is creating a product, right? From start to finish, that in itself is, a gold mine of experiences and learnings that you can highlight in your job interviews, right? And why behavioral interviewing? This has, again, when you take a look at it, and some of the speakers may have talked about it, right? Behavioral interviewing continues to be popular because at its heyday, and this was around the 90s when it was still beginning to become popular, right? Compared to traditional interviewing techniques, behavioral interviewing was proven to be 55% more predictive, right? So it predicts how you're going to do the job by looking at your most recent behavior, because again, it's based off of habits. When people have habits, right? For example, in the mornings, right? Even though all of us are working from home, when you get into certain habits like drinking coffee at 7 a.m. in the morning, or whatever the case may be, drinking coffee or tea, uh, even if you change your working conditions, working from home to working in office, some of those habits still persist, right? And that's the basis of behavioral interviewing. And so when you take a look at behavioral interviewing, most, if not all, of the questions that you'll be asked will be using this particular format, right? So people will be asking about the situation, right? So maybe let's say, for example, they want to find out how are your team working skills, right? How do you work inside the team? So they'll ask you, can you remember a most recent time that you had to work with a team, right? So when you take a look at how you organize your thoughts, when you think about organizing your stories, right? These are the three things that you'll be looking for. So situation, right? context story, diba? Like for example, when you're talking with friends, right? You don't start a story. You don't start a story with your friends like, I we had the fight, right? You say, you know what? Yesterday I was talking with my significant other, and this is what they said. This is what I said. So again, diba? You put in details. So same thing here. When you talk about the situation, when you're answering these interview questions, make sure that you're very detailed about it. What's the next one? Behavior. What is it that you did? Now, most often than not, and this may have been also discussed by our previous speaker, right? People, when they talk about their contributions, when they talk about what they did, they often use the term, oh, this is what we did, etc. So, one thing about behavioral interviewing that you have to remember is that the interviewer is asking about your behavior. What is it that you did? So, if it's in the context of a group work, like maybe a thesis paper, what part, how much of that thesis paper was your actual contribution? Were you in charge of checking? Were you in charge of organizing everything from start to finish? Or were you just, again, you did research, you submitted it, and then it's the rest of your group aid? So again, what you did in particular is very, very important, and is often a hit or a miss for interviewers. So when you start, using the we, oh, this is what our group did, this is what my organization did, oftentimes that can be a flag or a red flag for the interviewer. So that's why I always put it into present tense, or your first person view rather, right? This is what I did. This is what I did. Or from our group contribution, this was what I was responsible for, right? And what was the last one? So again, this is something very important as well. Talking about the results. So having these three things: situation, behavior, and what was the end result? Did you pass your thesis paper, right? If there's anything exceptional, like for example, maybe, of course, for the thesis advisors, right? You've only met with your thesis advisor just once throughout the whole academic year. That is something notable because, again, you were so organized, you had everything in place. You only had to meet with your thesis advisor, and the rest of the time, you were just sending your thesis advisor updates on your thesis, right? So, again, looking at those significant results, right, and tying it in, what was it that you were what you were responsible for that contributed to that positive result? And sometimes, and this is very important as well, right? People like what our previous speaker talked about, right? Be at your best, right? But in my case, what I've also found in my interview experience is that failures can also be a unique opportunity for you to present to your interviewers what you've learned from those failures, right? So when you talk about the results, again, don't just focus on your successes. Don't just focus on, those positive events that you've had in your life, but you can also bring up negative, right? Negative results, or situations where maybe you expected one outcome, but you had a totally different outcome. And in that situation, what you'd want to also speak to, and this is part of that, providing that results piece, is what is it that you've learned? Were you able to apply it to another situation wherein, maybe situation A was a fail, right? But then learning from that situation, when you encounter this very similar situation in the future, you were now able to take your learning and apply it. Right? So again, behavioral interviews are based off of your experience, and that's why when you think about, preparing for, interviews, when you're talking about your experience, diba, you don't have to worry about it too much. And there's that, hopefully, imparts a sense of comfort for you because you're not creating, you're not making anything up. You're talking about what you went through. That's the beauty, and that's why, in my particular experience, talking about my experience, what I did, makes me have that more confident stance when you're now talking to your interviews, because you're not making things up, right? Oftentimes people get nervous when they're asked theoretical questions, and then they think, okay, well, what's the best thing to do here, right? So that's where you can potentially trip up. But if you stick to your experience, your story, what you've gone through, then that gives you a very solid foundation to talk on. right? It makes you more confident because you're not making anything up. And so my tips, and again, when you talk about virtual interviews and those interview questions that you'll be encountering, right? The tips that I have is, first off, know your purpose. If you're very clear about what is it that you want to achieve, and this is excluding, again, excluding what you want, which is, again, having that first job, right? For those of you that recently graduated, right? Or for those of you that have graduated in the past but maybe looking for your next employer, right? Your next job. Okay. So, what is your overall purpose? What is it that you want to achieve, both from a personal and a professional perspective? Because knowing that will help you be able to answer a lot of those commonly asked interview questions, right? What's the next tip that I have for all of you, right? Evaluate your current skill sets. What I mentioned, even if you've not had an extensive working experience, right? Like all 4 years or 5 years or whatever the case may be, that you were in college, you didn't have, time to work, right? You still have a lot of life experiences, the activities that you've had with family, with friends, activities that you did with your neighborhood community. Maybe you're active in church, maybe you're active in your barangay, maybe you're active in your local community, maybe there's a volunteer group that you've been setting aside time for, right? Those are valid sources, and I'll share with you how you can position them. And again, remember those three things, right? Situation, behavior, and result. And we'll talk more about that. Okay? Next, look for companies that have strong and deeply rooted values. And this is very important because when you talk about behavioral interviewing, companies nowadays look for not just skill fit or job fit, meaning they have the experience and they have the skills to do the job, but more and more global companies are also looking for a good culture fit. And when you say culture fit, this now is where that mindset, your values come in, right? If you know your purpose, if you're clear about what is it that you like and what is it that you stand for in terms of your own personal values, when you now look at companies, and most of the time, right, most companies like EY included, we are able to publish it on the website, and this goes through true as well for most companies. We have our value stated up out in front, right? When you go to the EY corporate website, whether it's in the US, UK, or even here in the Philippines, you'll find those values stated right out in front, right? So when you have companies that have their value stated, when they have those purpose-driven statements already sent out, and in EY's case, right, our overarching purpose, the reason why we do anything and everything that we do, from our university talks, our partnerships with companies and organizations like jobs180.com, right? Our purpose is to help build a better working world. So it's not the Miss Universe answer na build a better world, period, right? It's build a better working world. So it implies continuous effort on our part and on the part of each EY employee worldwide. And that's why when you learn more about the company's values, you're more able to create and find those stories that resonate in your own experience that matches the organization. And again, when you're able to find that out and match it up with your own personal values, the values of the company, and your own personal experience, that puts you in a very good position to answer most of those questions as it relates to company values. Okay, so we'll go back to it in a little bit. So first off, when you talk about knowing your purpose, right? Again, there's a lot of questions that you can ask yourself, a lot of ongoing material that you can access externally, YouTube, Facebook, on the internet, right? But here, there's just three things that I'd like you to make sure that you have the answers to. And again, most of these are also commonly asked questions. Diba? What do you see yourself doing in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years? So again, that's a commonly asked question. And the idea here, why this question is asked, is usually the company or the interviewee is trying to find out, okay, will you be staying for long in this company? Second, the work values that you have, right? Is it going to be a match with what the company values as well? That's why we talked about the third one, knowing the company values, right? What do you enjoy doing? So again, uh, most of these questions talk about your purpose, and if you're clear about what is it that you enjoy doing, right, even if you've not had formal working experience, that's something that you can talk to. So for example, if you've done your research on companies and what is it that they do internally and externally, right, if it matches things that you love doing, then again, that's a plus bonus that you can prepare for, right? So for example, maybe you love learning about new skills like, Photoshop. Like for example, nowadays with the pandemic, having an online business. Maybe you have an online business that you just recently started, or you want to start. Right. So knowing things about those topics can give you an idea and can give your interviewer an idea that, hey, the company, right, the company you're applying for, in this case, EY has courses or web courses that aren't just about skills, aren't just about job fit, and I'll share more about it in a little bit, right? So again, if the interviewer knows that, oh, EY has this, this is what you as a job interviewer are looking for. If it's a match, then again, that is a positive as well for the interviewer, right? What's the third question that you can ask and prepare the answer for? What are you curious about? Because more and more companies nowadays, EY included, recognize that when a person joins an organization, they don't just join because they need a job. They're also curious about a lot of things, right? Not just, for example, maybe you enter EY or you join EY as part of our assurance team, which does audits, which just does governance, right? Which does accounting reviews, right? So if that's the case, then again, EY recognizes that you may not want to stay in assurance for the entirety of your EY career. So learning about what you're curious about can help you identify what path do you take in any organization. Do you want to be a people manager, right? And again, being a manager, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to stay in that same department or same group that you started with. It means that, again, management skills are transferable. You can use it in any setting, any team, right? And if you have the fundamentals correctly and firmly in place, then you can do well in any team, right? So being curious, and what are you curious about? So that's a commonly asked question as well, right? Now the other things that you may want to take a look at and answer, so you have it ready for those interviews, are the following. So for example, how can you learn more in less time? Have you looked at online courses? How well are you doing with online courses? Do you find them boring or do you find them engaging? Right? So these are things that, again, uh, can give your interviewers a very good sense of who you are and what you bring to the company. Right? What's the next one? How can you be flexible, agile? One thing that we've learned throughout the pandemic, and one thing that a lot of organizations learned the hard way as well, is that if your organization is not flexible, if your mindset, both as an organization and as individuals, as part of that organization, is not having an agile mindset, meaning being open to change, making sure that you're not locked into a course of action that when something changes, you have a very difficult time changing course, changing direction, reassessing, having that introspective nature, meaning you tend to not just keep doing things, but at a certain point of time, you stop and you look back at what you did. Was I successful? What did I do wrong? What did I do correctly? And more importantly, what do I do? What do I change moving forward so I can be more effective? So again, being flexible, being agile, those are commonly asked questions that talk about your purpose. So being clear about your purpose. When you now look at those next two tips, which we'll be going through, makes it easier for you to identify which experiences you've had with friends, with family, with those non-profit organizations or those social organizations within your community. you can highlight during your interviews, right? So let's go to the next one, skill sets, right? Normally, when you talk about skill sets, you're talking about two things, right? Non-transferable skills, which are very specific to companies. Usually, these are the skills that talk about, technical knowledge specific to your field or industry, right? Accounting, HRM, engineering skills, right? Systems, like for example, maybe you have a specific system in company A that deals with logistics. But let's say, for example, in EY, we have a long-standing strategic partnership with SAP company, right? So in that case, that is what we call non-transferable skills, right? Now, and this is where you focus on, especially for those of you that may not have had working experience prior to you taking on those job interviews. You focus on your transferable skills. So when we say transferable skills, whatever job that you do, right? Whatever industry you work in, these are skills that you can use and pretty much are the same whatever you do, right? So what's an example? Project management, right? So what's an example of a project management opportunity in a non-work setting? For example, with the pandemic, a lot of families have had, and mine included, right? We've had to revert to, or we've had to resort to online kamustahan, diba? Or online get-togethers instead. Diba? So, for example, maybe you've had the opportunity in the past to organize some of those things. Maybe, for example, for Holy Week for this year, right? Instead of your family getting together and doing all of the religious observances, like let's say for example visiting churches, right? So maybe you as a family, you say, oh, I'll organize it and I'll take a look at which churches have online services. And what we'll do is we'll create a group chat and I'll stream each particular church service as we go, right? So you can still do visita de iglesia. So again, managing something as simple as a family reunion or having those online gatherings, right, is a project in itself. What aspects of project management you might think? So first off, attendance. How do you keep track of attendance? Did you create that event in Google, right, or did you create a Facebook event, right, or whatever platform you're using? Right? What else? Community building and networking. So again, this is very important, right? When you talk about community building, you're talking about how do you reach out to people who are not part of your immediate family, right? So maybe you've been active in your church, in your local community. So what activities have you done for the past year or years even, right? So those are things that you can highlight during your interviews. So it's a matter of you taking a look at, maybe, for example, looking at the job descriptions. And most companies do provide a very detailed job description of what you'll be doing, handling projects, conflict resolution, right? For example, conflict resolution. Um, in your own barcadas or in your own circle of friends, right? Have you had people fight in the past and have you had to step in to try to resolve that? So again, those are opportunities for you to pick up these transferable skills. So no experience is wasted. So even the things like, for example, Boy Scout, Girl Scout, right? For those of you that may still have had that opportunity, or even those of you that had the opportunity prior to the pandemic, maybe going camping, even those smallest skills like opening a can with just what they call this, with just common household utensils, not including a can opener, right? So using a knife to open a can, using what do you call this, what's the uh, using a screwdriver to open a can, right? Those are potential transferable skills that you can highlight. So it's a matter of you looking at what the company is looking for in terms of the job description, and then what are your life experiences. So when you have those job interviews, you can be confident in saying, yes, I haven't worked, but I've actually picked up a lot of skills already. Skills that when I look at the job that you are interviewing for, makes me confident I can do the job. I can manage conflicts. I know how to use digital tools like Microsoft 360. Why? Because again, maybe in my spare time, I've been setting up websites, right? Or I have my own online business selling, right? I do live selling events, right? So again, when you talk about transferable skills and non-transferable skills, that's why every opportunity, even when you're still looking for a job, any experience that you've had can increase your transferable skills, right? So that's the second one. Look at what stories do you have, right? So that you're not creating things out of thin air. And again, when you go back to behavioral interviewing, right, that is what interviewers usually focus on. What has been your experience? Okay. Now the last one is, of course, look for companies that have deeply rooted values, because again, in most cases, companies that have strongly stated or that state their values outright base their decisions on those values despite the circumstance, right? And that's why when you take a look at your own past experience, what have you done in the past that correspond to this? For example, and let's take a look at EY. So if you look at the values that EY has, it's all about people, people who demonstrate integrity, respect, teaming, inclusiveness. How do we make other people who may be the same as us, maybe coming from a different company, different culture, how do we make them feel welcome? How do we make them feel valued, right? People with energy, enthusiasm, and the courage to lead. Again, maybe I go into EY as a staff level, but that doesn't mean that I have to wait until I get promoted to show some courage in leading people, right? And then lastly is people who build relationships based off of doing the right thing. So when you're asked these interviews, when you're aware of the organization's values, you're able to check. Like for example, that last one, build relationships based on doing the right thing. So maybe in the past, right? Maybe you were on the way to market, you saw a wallet, it had like 5,000 pesos in it. Did you do the right thing? Did you check? Is there any identification? Did I try to find the owner of that wallet? Right. So doing the right thing even when no one looking, that is something that speaks very strongly about character, about integrity, right? So those personal experiences are very good foundations, and when you use them to answer these questions, and like what most companies, EY included, we check for people, what have you done in the past? Like for example, that example I just gave, have you had the experience wherein you had to do the right thing even without anyone telling you to do so, right? So again, that example of the uh, wallet that you found, right? That can be a very strong example. That's why for EY, all throughout this pandemic, and what we focused on our people has been really been in terms of making people our number one priority. And that's why when we talk about, for example, our online offerings, we've had like a tie up, and this is a strategic partnership we've had with Udemy. And Udemy is one of the largest online providers. You may have seen their ads in Facebook, right? In LinkedIn. For example, here on the back, you can see the course offerings that we have. And that's why a lot of companies, including EY, don't just provide courses that can help you do your job, but rather it also talks about what are your interests. So remember what I was telling you earlier, right? So people who are interested in podcasting, right? For example, if you look at the external cost, and right now Udemy is running a special, but this is only for the next 2 days, right? It's only like 17 USD, but its regular cost, as you can see, it's around 130 US. But for EY, we provide it for free. And that's where you can see in the background, that's a screenshot of our Udemy for Business platform. So these are 5,000 courses that we've worked with Udemy that are available for free for all of our EY employees. What's another example, right? And this is now comparing social media marketing. So again, some of you may have had those businesses or online selling on the side, right? To keep you busy, to also provide another or additional source of income for you and your family. So again, when you look at it, social media marketing mastery, it's usually available at 94 USD. But for EY, we provide it for employees for free. And that's why when you're able to answer those questions I shared earlier, right? What are you curious about? What do you want to learn? Where do you see yourself 1, 3, 5, or 10 years from now? You can easily match what the company offers with what you're looking for. And if you're able to talk about that during your interviews, and this is one of those commonly asked questions, right? Then it puts you in a better position. For example, project management, right? Agile in what do you call this? In the external side, that's 200 USD. So that's how much nowadays? 50 pesos. So that's our exchange rate is 1 USD 50 right now, I believe. So that's around 10,000 pesos, right? But that course in EY is free. And so you have all of these opportunities from EY to other organizations to the other speakers that we're talking about. But if you're not able to speak clearly and coherently about what is it that you're interested in, what is it that you're passionate about in those interviews, and talk about your specific experience and not just, again, theoreticals. What would I do in this situation? But talking about what did I do in a similar situation, right? uh, that's where you can really come across as a strong candidate and hopefully land you that job. And that's why, as I end my talk now, here are some of the current openings that we have from assurance to consulting to core business services as well as our tax team. And again, you might not fall into any one of these four, but that's why we hope and we invite each and every one of you to check out the Jobs 180 site. So jobs180.com/EYGDS so that you can see the updated list for those openings. And more importantly, if you want to learn more about EYGDS as a company and as a firm and what is it that we do, not just work, but also what contributions we've had in terms of our community building, you can check out our EY career site at the following website. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope everyone continues to stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch you on the next run. So Sherry, over to you.
Thank you, Sir Dennis. All right. So, sir, we have questions here from Miss Stephanie Yanga. Is it always EOP during interviews? Any tips for those people who are not confident enough in speaking in English?
All right. So again, a lot of the interviews do a mix. Like even in my presentation, I do switching. What I found to be most useful is take the interviewer's cue. So if your interviewer is speaking in straight English, then take that as a cue and stay in English only throughout the discussion. But at any point, if you have your interviewer lapsing in Tagalog, of course, obviously, this is excluding uh, your dialects, right? Because you might not be from the same province. So if they lapse into Filipino, then again, that's an indication or a sign for you that you can do the same. So I'd say check or pakiramdaman mo for your interviewer.
Okay. Sir, we have another question here. Pwede po ba ilagay sa resume ang pagiging accent scholar? I think a lot of people are doing
Yes.
this kasi, sir, eh. So maybe they're curious.
Mm. Yeah. So when you talk about being an Axis scholar, yes, you can put it in, but what's more important during your actual interview is what have you learned from it? Diba? Like for example, during the interview process, you realize, oh, I really have to bump up my networking skills. So even after you got approved as an Axis scholar, what is it that you did? Diba? Did you volunteer now for community projects because of that? So that is going to be important because again, being a scholar alone might be great, but if you're not able to highlight it, if you're not able to identify those transferable skills that you picked up while being a scholar, then it might be a missed opportunity during the interview.
Alright. So, kailangan daw guys ma-explain nyo din ano ba yung natutunan nyo sa pagiging acting scholar nyo. Alright. Next
Mm-mm.
up, we have Patricia Maranan. What are your suggestions on how we can answer properly the question introduce yourself?
Ayan. So introduce yourself. Again, take a look at that purpose slide that I shared earlier, right? So what is it that you want to accomplish 1, 3, 5, 10 years time, right? What are you curious about? What is it that you want to learn more about? Again, talking about those three things as an introduction, that's a strong introduction already.
Alright, so thank you for that, Sir Dennis. I think we're done with the questions now. So thank you again, sir, for lending us your time. And to our job seekers, if ever you want to explore vacancies at EYGTS, the link is jobsunited.com/EYGTS. It's also available on RTU's list of partners. So that's on schools.jobsunited.com/RTU. So, Sir Dennis, again, thank you and have a nice day. Have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the week.
All right. So to our audience, thank you for lending us your time. Again, if you have questions, please don't be shy to message us on Facebook. And may we remind you that this is the first leg of our RTU session. So we will be doing two more runs. So meron pa tayong two more sessions for RTU, and we'd love to have you there then, guys. All right. So from the Jobs 180 team and from the entire RTU team from the Office of COE. Thank you, Sir Dong, and to the rest of his team. And from Jobs 180, maraming salamat po for being on time. May we invite you guys to the rest of the webinars that we will be hosting this week and next week. Sorry, next week, Friday na pala bukas. So, please check our Facebook page for the topics that we will be discussing in those webinars, and you're welcome to join in any of those sessions. So we would also like to thank our partner CEO Group for being one of our sponsors for this event. You may check them out at Lazada or Shopee and at the nearest mall in your areas to shop for your corporate needs and for career opportunities. It's available at jobs180.com/CEO Group. So on behalf of jobs180.com and RTU, COE, and the rest of the companies that have joined us this morning, congratulations guys. You finished one part. See you and have a great afternoon. Thank you. Thank you.